Hello, friends! It is Sunday night. It is Valentine's Day. Whether or not you celebrate it or not, you're here. You're here with us, with me, and I'm happy for that. So, what's up? Here I am, channeling my best Carrie Fisher. Look how cute they are. They're so cute. Rocking my gift for my mom, my giant, whatever they are, gold leafish leaves. And they're awesome. And my butterfly ring. So I'm actually excited to talk about tonight because, it's about love. I mean, what else would we talk about today? I don't know. There's nothing else to talk about but love. So let's do this. Let's do this. And I missed you all last week. The game wasn't so exciting, but I hope you had fun eating and hanging with whomever and just being, not worrying about other stuff, because that's good. Always good. So, what should we talk about? Let's talk about some love. Tonight I had plans of what the day was going to look like, even though I knew I had one session and was going to work and whatever. But, of course, things happened, and nothing is always perfect, and that's okay. Yesterday I was very happy to bring the family to the office and eat food there and watch part of a movie and just cuddle. It was very beautiful. And my mom made a wonderful meal on Friday night, so I feel like we've been celebrating love for 3 days, full on love fest. And we're gonna do more of that tonight. So I keep looking at my Zoom people and waiting for more of them to log on, but they're a little slow sometimes. So we're just gonna start off with, how are you doing this week? Now I always say week and we go, I don't remember yesterday. Some of us do. Was this week a little bit more difficult energy-wise? We had a new moon. I know one of my children had a very hard time that night sleeping. I love all the hearts. Woohoo! Yeah, Renee's like, yes, we are slow. Hey, Jordan. So how did you feel? When was that? Was that Thursday night? Thursday night was the new moon. Did you feel like you had a harder time sleeping? Hey, Christine. Or relaxing, or did you have anxiety? Chime in, let me know what's up. I had it, I think, 2 nights before that. So, it's always interesting to see what happens, right? Excuse me, I don't know what's in my mouth. All right. How about you, Kristen? Did you have a hard time sleeping that night, or are you good?
No, I did okay for the most part this week sleeping. I've been getting up a lot more at night anyway, because I've been trying to drink a lot more water, so
the water woke you up.
But it's interesting. Some of the times I've been awake. I get into a waking phase, and that's not the reason why. I'll just get up and do that anyway, but I'll get into a waking phase. So I don't think I had a problem that night, but I've had some interesting sleep this week, but not bad.
So just back to that water thing for a second, because there is, so when I had mentioned on Facebook that one of my kids was had a really hard time sleeping that night, somebody mentions, which I thought was so sweet, to see which part of the phase of the moon that she does better on, and then make water for that type of phase. So the next phase that we have, that I'd have to obviously be checking in and see when she's sleeping like that. And then just give her water from the best time that she sleeps, which might ironically be the full moon, who knows, but I'll be more attentive to that and figure that out. So I thought that was a really sweet thing to do, to actually give her water to the best phase that she sleeps on.
I actually checked my sleep monitor, because it tells
me. You can easily figure that out.
It graphs the moon phase, and I actually looked it up to see what moon phase I sleep best at, and it's 3/4.
See? Interesting. That's interesting. Hey, Jeannie. Happy Love Day to you. The other thing I was going to say about water, though, is that I do think that when you're hydrating better, you'll probably sleep better overall, right? And it will change, throughout the time. You might have to get up to urinate, but you will actually have a calmer, more deeper sleep. I think. I'm postulating, I don't have one of those Fitbits or anything like that, but that's my feeling, is that when we're more hydrated, we generally are functioning just on a higher level. Hey, Shannon. So yeah, what else is going on this week? So much channeling going on. I'm gonna have to start talking more and more about the Akashic Records and my journey with this whole thing, but it has been a trip, let me tell you. It has been an awakening. It has been a lot of grieving, a lot of crying, a lot of screaming, like not around people, just in my own bubble. But it's been really, really interesting, and I have so many stories to share with all of you. Yeah. So, last time we spoke about different types of grief, and part of why I want to keep talking about that in little bits and pieces is because I can't tell you how many times in the past, month, I have heard the exact same words of, if I suggest counseling or something like that, like the most appalled face on people, or their breath just goes like, oh, and they just grip down. They want nothing to do with it. It's almost offensive. And hey, Jan, awesome, hi. And they're so turned off by the word. It's like another trigger for them. And I'm so worried about people now because I'm really why are you so afraid of therapy? You don't need to be crazy. You don't need to be manic. You don't need to be having a hard time even to go to therapy. I'll say it 5,000 times. I'll say it every week if I need to. If you know somebody that is battling not going to counseling because they feel like it's beneath them or it's, I don't know what, please, just keep gently telling them good experiences and I don't know what else to say, but I'm just shocked at the amount of people that are like, no, that will never work. That will make me angry. That will make me sad. That will make me this. I'm like, well, God forbid you feel anything. We wouldn't want you to experience anything, right? We wouldn't want you to experience anything. We don't want that. Yeah, therapy is everywhere though. Of course, because we're in a pandemic and everybody needs a bit. So, not saying you have to go for therapy all the time, just right now in particular might be even harder. So if you're not seeing a therapist, make sure you have other outlets that are doing at least some counseling with it. Life coach, something. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep saying that because even my doctor, who I have not seen in 3 years, was pouring out his heart to me like I was a captive audience for him. I was like, oh God, please give me the right words. This man is so sad right now. That was crazy. That was really, really rough. I had to be like, all right, look at me in the eyes. It is okay to be angry at God. And let's say this again. It is okay to be angry at God. He's so upset. He lost his best friend. It's okay to be angry at God. Just remember, God didn't purposely kill your friend so that you would suffer. That's not what's going on here. But I get it, that's what grief is. I get it. We know the acronym for it, right? We know those denial, anger, blah, blah. So it's okay. And it's normal. Let's normalize that. But you don't want to live there, right? So he's been living there for a year, angry at God. He probably will live there for a much longer time, feeling more disconnected, because it's not going to serve him to be there. And counseling would probably be a great idea. But as soon as I mentioned it, he went, oh no, I don't do that. Okay. But here you are, talking to one of your patients you have not seen in 3 years, friends. 3 years. Is it 3 or 19, 20? Yes, 3 years. So, here I'm like this. I'm like, half covered. I'm like, okay. Are we okay? Is everything okay? I'm so sorry. You're so sad. I don't know what to do. So, hey, Nenes and Kitty Cat. Hi, Henrietta. Yeah, Jen's talking about the world is in various stages of PTSD, so be proactive. This is so the case with literally most people that have a form of PTSD going on. And they have no idea. They just think they're having mood swings. That's not what's going on. You're being triggered all the time. And we're okay. We are okay. You're right, Jen. So I want to address a couple things about love, because it's love. It's the day of love, right? Although we celebrate love all the time, here's one that I don't care who created it, Hallmark or not. It's a happy day wearing red and talking about fun stuff. So whether or not you're single, it doesn't matter. It is a day for love. So let's address the first myth. The first myth of love. Who ever heard You can't get your soulmate. You can't love somebody else until you what?
Love yourself.
Until you love yourself. Do you think that that's true? Please tell me. Do you think that that's true? Tell me. Yell it out. That is not true. Of course it's not true. We know this is not true. It's not true because if you have a child, do you not love that child because you're struggling with yourself? If you have an animal, do you not love that animal because you do not love yourself? No. So we know this is not even close to the case. You can laugh at me all the time. You love yourself. You got to love yourself first. No, you have to take care of yourself first. You have to remember that you're worthy of love. That's what you need to do. You need to remember that you're worthy of love. But you do not need to be the best person that's fully in love with themselves and understands themselves, because the truth is that takes a long time, and many stages of falling in and out of yourself, falling in and out of love with yourself, having all these things, because you are, my friend, human, and that's what it is. So that's myth busted number 1. Jen says, learn ways to love yourself and others better concurrently every day. Of course. So we're going to turn to Rumi, because Rumi is the best poet to address love, don't you think? So let's go there, and I'll slow down and calm my breath out. I'm just so excited to be here tonight. So, I mean, there's so many poems I could use, but I'm going to use this one. And just take a breath with me. A lover asked his beloved, "Do you love yourself more than you love me?" The beloved replied, "I have died to myself, and I live for you. I have disappeared from myself and my attributes. I am present only for you. I have forgotten all my learning, but from knowing you, I have become a scholar. I have lost all my strength, but from your power, I am able. If I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself." So there's a few ways that we can talk about this one. Part of it sounds a little, dichotomous. Sounds like, well, I love you more than I love me, right? Or what is he really saying here? He's saying that there is no correct answer to this. I have loved you all along, even when I am lost, right? I have loved you when I knew nothing. I have loved you when I'm broken. I have loved you just always. I have been consistent and loved you for always, even when I was not my best. But does he mean that you're above me? No, right? Because the last part is he's telling you, if I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself. Because they're one. We're one. So that's how we are for all of us, right? If I love you, I love me. If I love me, I love you. We are the reflection for each other. And that even goes for those that we can't stand, right? Because they bring out those triggers, those little intricate triggers that really put off all those things that we don't like about ourselves, and our little spikes come up and go, "Ugh, I don't like this person." And that's really because we're having a difficult time in parts of us. So there's another quote. Let's see if I could find it real fast. And that's just part of it. Let's see. Oh yeah, oh, how lucky am I found it right away. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And we'll say it again. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So we think we're looking, oh, we're going to find this, we're going to find that. But really what's going on is we have those little spikes that are always up, that person that really bothers us or whatever it is. And it creates this horrible thing, what we think is the truth about, we're not worthy. That's when we start to say that we're not worthy of love. Oh, why am I so unlucky in love? Why am I not happy all the time? Why am I not getting what I need? And it starts to sound pretty victimized, don't you think? And that's okay, right? As long as we are aware of it and we start to address it. Do you want to live a life where you sound like a victim all the time? I don't think so. Do you want to live a life of empowerment, right? Of empowerment and passion and excitement. So we can say that these things have happened to us, right? Oh, this is very sad. This is a sad story. This is my story. It's hard. It's unhappy. I've been, cheated on. I've done these things, all these things, and they've all happened to us. But without going into the karmic ties, let's also think about what we're manifesting, right? And people have a hard time with manifesting because that word starts to imply that we've asked for this or we've created it. And God forbid we've created something that's not desired, right? Oh my gosh, that would be horrible. Who would ever want to think, oh, I brought illness upon myself. I brought death upon myself. I brought this upon myself. You're thinking too small. Your manifesting comes from deep within the subconscious, even below that. It comes from many, many times of going through these things. And yes, we do start to call upon these things because the end goal is for us to be raised, for our vibrations to be raised. And for that to happen, we actually have to go through some turmoil so that we can remember. So we can remember how worthy we are. So that we can remember that, wait, I forgot. I do deserve to be loved. Oh, I forgot. I didn't want that. I wanted this. We have to refine all the time. So manifesting is a scary thing to some because we start to think it's our fault, but it's not fault the way you think of it is. It's a desire to actually be better. It's a desire to be ascended. It's a desire to be closer to your source, closer to God. So yes, we do create these major parts of our realities. Does that mean that you still can't have emotions about it? Hell no. Because you're human. You are meant to be happy. But to get to happy, you have to experience all of the things in between. Hello, friends. Hi. How are you, Dan? So do not forget that all of these things that we've called upon deep within our soul are really, really waiting for you to say, I see you. I see you. And I saw that trigger that was really hard. Oh, hold on. My meditation is always starting without me. Calm down. So those spikes that come up when we see those reflections that we don't like from strangers or from family members or whatever it is, doesn't mean you need to stay around them and suffer, but it does mean you should take that time to reflect and go, wait a second, that was really uncomfortable for me. Why? Why was that so uncomfortable for me? What happened when that happened? And that's where non-judgment comes in, right? And this is one of the toughest things for us as humans to really understand, that to be non-judgmental literally means I witness this. I see this as a thing that occurred instead of that was horrible, that was this, that was that, that was that. Now I'm going to live in that, what I think that was for a long time. So when we come back into love, right? Now, is there more than one type of love? What do you guys think? Right? We can easily say, sure, right? Because I don't want to kiss everybody I see, right? Or maybe I do, I don't know. But, we have different types. Too much information. Kristen, I love you all the time. I'll kiss you anytime. But
I know I'm the anomaly.
So these things that we're attracted to, that's an interesting thing too. I'm just listening. Okay, Jen's reading. For me, dude, it's about living in the moment because peace is the present, anger is the past, and anxiety is the future. Yep. Let's see if I can read it. Okay. Hold on, I have to scroll, Jen. It's all about how we act as the aware master of our minds. In my experience, if I'm present and looking at the future, I see myself successful. If I look at the past, I objectively see the adventures it took me to get here. And when I see the present, I see my world in a very real way. Usually things are actually very chill. I'm just going to skim now. Recenter to the present, moment to breathe. Okay. Yeah, go in the ebb and flow, living lovingly as possible. Yes, absolutely. So when we go to this love part, you know, here we are, beautiful Valentine's Day. It was a really nice day out by me. Very clear weather, calm in a lot of ways. And we can choose, you know, every morning, what do we want to live in our minds, right? What do we want to hold with our bodies? And I find myself more and more choosing love in a very deep way. So I hear a lot of, oh, I'll be better when I get myself back in shape. It will be better when, and there's like a lot of whens, you know, it will be better when the summer comes and I can do X, Y, and Z. It will be better when the world has more normalcy. Everything's better in like this other greener pasture that's, not exactly tangible, but I feel like it's going to be better then. Well, what's happening now? And I don't even mean a week from now. I mean, what's happening today? Have you lost your choice? Have you lost your breath? No. Have you lost your mind? Sometimes. Right? Have you lost your body? And what happens if, God forbid, like one of our friends, she slipped last week and she broke her wrist on the ice, like literally right after I typed, everybody please be careful on the ice. So is she less of herself now? Should she just hate her body now? Like, oh, my body failed me. My wrist is broken. Now I can't do anything I love. No, she's going to have some emotions and then she's going to move on with them every day because why? That's the present. That's what she has. Otherwise, she's going to be pretty miserable thinking about all the ifs, ands, or buts. So now we go back to ourselves. We know how we get triggered, right? We know how we can cultivate love. So what are you doing for yourself every day? We talk about self-care a lot, but how are you showing your body, this temple that you're living in temporarily? How are you showing your mind? How are you showing everything about you that I've chosen love? I've chosen it. Because every day, and you'll hear me say this a lot, love is a choice. Love is a choice. And that's mind-boggling if you really think about it, right? I love my husband. I'm in love with my husband. Is marriage easy? Anybody been in a marriage and go, oh, this was so easy. I could do this 10 times, easy. No, because you have to choose that. You have to wake up and choose like, all right, I see other people. I'm attracted to them. But I'm going to stay with this one, right? I like what this one does. Oh, this was hard. I'm not going to go anywhere else. I'm choosing to stay and do the work. I'm choosing to stay and do the work. And I'm choosing to stay and do the work with myself. That's a partnership. We have that with ourselves all the time as well. You can wake up, look in the mirror, and easily go, oh my God, what is that? What's going on? It will be better when it's summer. It will be better when I lose this weight. It will be better. What a story. But you have this choice. So you'll hear me say about it a lot. And I think today is the perfect day to start choosing to figure out how to love yourself, how to know yourself more and more. And back to that Rumi part right then. If I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself. So tonight's meditation is going to be a lot about reflection, what we're seeing for ourselves, what we're seeing, and maybe what we're feeling too, how we can go in and carve out those barriers and say, I see you. That was a hard one. That was a hard trigger. And take a step back, recoup, and go back in. So that's what we're doing. We're inviting the challenge, right? And of course we ask God for help. We ask God for smoothness. We ask God for finding ways to make things easier. But we need the challenges. We've got to smooth out the rough edges. We got to become that pearl, right? We have to be that tumbled rock, that tumbled stone. And it takes a little bit of work. And it's okay. Don't be afraid of the work. It's so great. So I do just want to share a moment about the Akashic Record readings. Really, really quickly. It's a very hard thing to explain, but basically it's, using your clairs, your clairvoyant, clairaudio, clairsentient, claircognitive, all those things that we think are psychic words, to access and read in this mental plane where it's just all this knowledge of all the souls, everything that's done and said and recorded. And what I'm going to tell you about one of my experiences, I'm basically reading for myself for 21 days. And the first night that I did it myself without my teacher, I had the most profound experience and had to begin grieving over this young child that was from hundreds of years ago. So my point is that I remembered it so well. It was as if it happened now. And then I drew her the other night, which I'm not an artist in that sense, drawing humans. And it was definitely a channeling experience. And I cried again, because it's that tangible. So if you can imagine that all of those things we carry with us, that's what we're talking about with karmic ties. We carry them with us as if they're threaded into our capillary system. Think of it like that, like little threads. And I've never felt so much more alive so quickly than realizing how to grieve for somebody wholly like that, like fully letting my body just go into something that was scary, and awesome at the same time. So I know you're gonna have a million questions about this and we'll talk about it more and more, but my point is with saying that is knowing how to really open and to really be ready for the experience is basically just asking for the divine to show you. And when you go there, it's like the biggest release in the whole world, because I suddenly feel like so connected to every little thing in the world, in a really loving manner. So even when something scary comes up, I can kind of see through it and understand that there's going to be a resolve, and just have more trust. Yes, Jen, I see that I will. All right. So get into your comfortable position. You can, if you're not muted, just mute yourself and turn the lights down. I got you, Dan. You're good. Perfect. I'm like shaking from talking about all that. I'm gonna calm down too. Okay. Okay. The first thing we always do is we contact the breath, right? Hello, old friend. Hello, old friends, my breath, I'm ready here to raise you up into my heart. Allow the breath to do a dance all the way into the heart. Hello, my friend who guides me here. I release you down into my belly. Allow it to glide down right all the way down to the navel. Hello to the breath again. Hello, my friend who gives me life. I raise you to my third eye. Breathe it all the way up between the brows. And let that happen a few times. Hello, my breath, I greet you here. I lower you down to my knees. Hello, my friend. I love you true. I bring you all the way up past my crown. And watch it lift up the head, lengthen the spine. Hello, my friend, I trust you, dear. And release the breath all the way down past the feet. And as you allow the awareness of the breath to become one with the mind again, feel how soft the body reacts. Every morning you have a choice of what you allow to come into the mind to make home for the day. And right now you're allowing only the breath to come into the body. And then starting to meditate on the word love and let that settle into your body too. Today I brought love into my heart. I gave it a home. I let it nestle into my chest and grow its vines complete. I watched it as it strengthened every pore, every bone, every organ. I watched it as it grew throughout my body. Today I gave home to the word, to the feeling, to the being of love. And I felt my soul relax and settle down into my belly and give my body warmth. And my core strengthened. My self-esteem sprouted too. And all things that needed control felt settled. Today I chose to bring love into my being, and I waited for others to do the same. And sure enough, when I lent them space, I felt them. I felt them come into their own. I felt them choose their beloved. I felt them invite others. And then we began our practice, a way of living, a daily life in love. And now bring your attention to your feet. These vines that we speak of, they go down to the feet, and they'll keep you anchored and strengthened as we take a walk. You'll find yourself at the edge of a forest. The ground is hard, but the grass is very, very soft. And just notice if you're barefoot or with shoes. Notice how the earth feels beneath you. Does it give way? Is it firm? Begin walking heel to toe very calmly, noticing all four corners of the feet making contact with this earth. And soon you'll walk right into a garden. Notice right away if the garden has walls around it, or brush or trees, or if it's perfectly manicured. You'll stay on the outskirts for just a moment as you just look at it, taking it all in, understanding how grand it is. Notice the first colors that touch your eyes. Perhaps you're lucky enough to get a scent as well. Can you smell it? Is there perfume wafting in the air around you? And now you'll find an opening to go in. Again, noticing, is it easy to get into the garden? Or is there brush and thorns and things you have to combat? And if it's hard to get in, see how you can make it easier. If you need a tool, take a tool. If you can will it away with your mind, then do so. Or your bare hands. Somehow get in. You're going to walk around the perimeter, just looking at what's available to you. Noticing everything. And I like to start from the ground up. So see if the earth beneath you has changed. The texture, the firmness. Is it overgrown? And perhaps there's some paving. Are there stones around? And you'll pause your movement, and I want you to hear the sounds. See what's available. You're doing a beautiful job. You're going to take a few breaths, and eventually you're going to come to the center of the garden, and you'll see a water fountain. Again, noticing everything immediately, so if it's unkempt or if it's perfectly neat and tidy, the color of the water, how it's spraying, all of that is very, very important to see what needs to be tended in your garden. But the one thing I will dictate to you is that around the fountain are beautiful gems. Notice the colors of each one. The shapes, the cuts. Are some of them rough or smooth and tumbled? Are some of them bigger than your hand or smaller than your pinky. In the center of the fountain is a big stand, and there's a mirror, an oval mirror in the center. It looks pretty antique. And you'll take your hand and anything else you need to clean it off. You'll do it very slowly, very gently, getting off all the dirt. If you need to, you can take it down and wash it. And you're going to do your best to dry it off perfectly and put it back. You're going to take your favorite stone that you noticed and very carefully wash that off too, and place it right in front of the mirror. And as you do this, something connects in the mirror, and the mirror turns crystalline, as if you can see through it. On the other side is your higher self. Noticing again right away, does this being look like you? Is it somebody else completely different? And the trick here is to not second guess. So just allowing your mind to do nothing with judgment and just see things. Your higher self could be a different gender or look exactly like you, just slightly changed. And now you'll take this time to ask your higher self, how can I love me better? What do I need to do? How can I love me better? And notice if your higher self is speaking to you, if you can hear it, feel it, have a deep knowing of it. How are you finding out this information? Are they showing you things? Maybe giving you the experience that you need? Your higher self will often call to people that will help heal you and help you go on your way. maybe even just for comfort. So now you can ask your higher self to invite a person or two or animal who is there to help you. So over the next few breaths, you might have someone join. And now notice how they get there. Now, if you can just be and listen to what these loved ones have to say, even an animal will imply. You know they love you, so we don't need to ask that. But today they're here to support you, to boost you up. So we're going to pose the question of, how do you love me? How do you love me? Because those loved ones show you in different ways how. We just have to listen. You'll take a few more breaths, resolving and remembering. Going back to the mirror, thanking your higher self for the guidance. You'll put the stone back exactly where you found it. And you'll make a promise to visit again soon. As you walk slowly out of the garden, a few flower petals will follow with the wind. They'll land right on your shoulders. You'll gently place them in a pocket. Find yourself back at the edge of the woods and resolve to lay it down there, letting the sun kiss your cheeks as you slowly come back into your body. And then bringing the awareness to the feet again to help ground the body back. This time sensing that someone's actually grabbing your feet to give them a nice squeeze. And you'll notice your breath again, so soft, so steady. And saying thank you to yourself, to your soul, to your higher being for presence. And bringing your hands right over the heart. Focusing today on a light pink. Pink, the color of rose quartz. Utilizing this image to grant the compassion towards yourself and to others. If I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself. So we'll bring the awareness back into the body, into the heart. Watching how the breath is nice and slow, relaxed, and steady. And so I always recommend, especially after a meditation like that, to just jot down as much as you can remember before it leaves your mind, because it will. And to notice things. Notice how I'll always invite you to notice things. Sometimes I'll guide you on the colors and stuff, but when we're trying to gain insight into ourselves, I want to give you that freedom of just noticing what comes up. So believe it or not, you began to access your secret garden, your special garden, your sacred garden is really the word. It's your sacred garden. And this is the place where I'll take you for other meditations for sure, but this is where you would come home to feel safe with, and to travel into other major meditations. So I want you to really notice the quality of care of the sacred garden here. You know, were you the person with the overgrown things and thickets and, thorns and stuff like that? Or did you have it perfectly manicured? Or what did it look like? And if you can, I would say draw it as much as you can. Take the time either tonight or tomorrow and just sit down. Remember, you don't have to be a professional artist to channel this type of energy and to really see what things are going on. So some of you might remember when we were doing the chakras over the summer, we all did our homework and we did our colors and everything like that. And on mine, I would always write the associated words with it. So that's the same type of thing you would do with this. So you'll draw as much of the garden as you can recall. You'll write down who you saw as your higher self. Notice right away, was it different? What was the same? Did they look better than how you think you look? What was the change? And could you hear them? Did you have a deep knowing? Did you visualize what they were, telling you? What's the last one? Or did you just feel it? So that's clairsentient is feeling. Clairaudio is hearing it, like somebody's talking to you. Claircognizant is just a deep knowing of something. And clairvoyant is seeing. So that's how you'll notice where you are with your clairs, and this will give you a lot of information. And what else do you need to notice? The colors of things, the colors of the stones, what you are drawn to. All these things are very important. So if you're going to hang for a few more minutes, I'll bring the community back in just to have a little bit of conversation about their experiences. And so it's going to get a little louder. So if you're already in a really sleepy place and you want to stay there, you're welcome to tune out and go to bed, and I'll see you next week. Or you can just hang out with us for a few. Either way, I'm so glad you joined us, and happy Love Day, and we'll see you soon. Okay, guys. What are you feeling? What's going on?
first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my garden. I'll speak this part easy. My garden was the fountain was it was not terribly ornate, but it was fancy. It was a round stone, very clear water. 3 layers of places for the water to fall from.
Nice.
And the mirror was all the way at the top. Lots of different gemstones. I chose an amethyst. There were 4 paths leading up to it, and each quadrant had lavender growing in it. And there was a breeze that was kind of running through the fields of the lavender where I could smell it just lightly in the air. I had trouble with bringing a person in because that's when things got weird. And I started getting contacted by the other side, and I kind of got off course. So that's for another time. But I was suddenly very blonde. I don't even know how to explain that. My hair was very golden blonde. And while my skin is perfect now, it was even more perfect. And I don't even know if I guess that has to be possible, but
yes,
so it was not having good skin.
It was really clear. Yeah, sure.
It was very obvious, and I was wearing a white dress with my usual gold shawl, and I was wearing white sandals.
Was your higher self like that, or was that just you the whole time?
It was just me the whole time. But I think my higher self was part of that, though, because I looked different, but I knew that it was me.
Yeah.
So I think it was both, to tell you the truth. It was like there was a moment of where I felt it flip, but it was both.
Well, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because you're already very connected to that part of you. So your meditation, like, you're used to it, whereas somebody who's not used to these things might have a different experience. But you are understanding that they're one and the same. So it's kind of cool that you already saw yourself in a better version, right? And then your higher self was even, like, maybe more evolved than that. So that's pretty cool. So it's not that it got weird, it got normal. Like, that's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what got weird was
the extra stuff was happening.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's happening a lot in my meditation, so I wasn't surprised by it. Right before I broke myself out of it, I think it was my grandfather, my mother's father, that was coming through. I couldn't figure it out, and I kept asking for clarity. Long story bearable, I think it was my grandfather.
Kristen, if you're having a lot of that interruption during the guided meditations, I would recommend that you actually purposely try to connect at another time.
Yeah.
Because they're really just, like, basically chomping at the, like, really waiting.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time it's happened in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So then you need to set aside time and just have that sort of interaction with them. And, like, notice particularly that obviously are they talking to you, or what's going on?
I'm just getting
Images. So they're using your clairvoyancy, okay? So that means that you can do a guided meditation the same way we just did it, and then they'll probably come in much easier, and then you'll actually have the time to guide that.
Right.
Okay, and then you can also tell them, you can write down words for me, or you can do this, because then
I actually did that this time because I couldn't figure out who it was.
Exactly.
Like, give me a name, give me a word, give me a letter.
Ask them to write it down. Give them actual, like, in your imagery, give them a piece of paper or something and ask them to write it down. And they probably will. Okay?
Yep.
Anybody else want to share an experience? Nene?
I think I was just, like, in and out of what I was listening to, but the only really things I remember visualizing was when you were talking about, I guess you were talking about the flowers, but I had wisteria and I smelled the wisteria and the fountain. It was just like the one tear fountain, kind of like a bird bath.
Aw.
Yeah. That's all I really remember visually.
That's funny. Hey, Ken. That's cool. Christine, are you there? Yeah, you.
I'm here.
Do you want to share? You don't feel like it's okay.
I can share. It was just very simple. I don't have detail to share. Just, like a simple garden, like a maze type, with trimmed hedges and big tree, simple fountain. But I didn't really get anything. I didn't have a clear of a higher self picture.
It's okay. So, I mean, the good things about these meditations are that we're recorded on Facebook. So, if you want to secretly go in there without anybody else knowing you signed on and just re-listen to the meditation during the week, you might get more as you practice through it, and just see what happens. It literally only takes 15 minutes a day to get pretty good at allowing your, basically it's a whole body experience eventually, right, Kristen, where you're suddenly like, you're able to feel and see and touch and taste and all this other stuff. It becomes a little bit like Willy Wonka's, Candyland. So it's something to explore and enjoy. The higher self will probably show up when you least expect it. So don't feel pressured about that. He is always there, and they're just waiting for more connection. So it's all good. David, would you like to share? He's sleeping over there? I said David. Dan, I mean, sorry. I think Dan's sleeping. Okay. All right, so I'm going to sign off for you guys, but maybe I might come right back online and or on Instagram and talk tonight about the Akashic Records, because I feel like I should do it when I'm already in makeup. Don't have to worry too much about it. So you'll see me on there, and then I'll try to share it back to Facebook. But again, don't be afraid of holidays that call for love, because it's not just about couples. This is really about us and what we're doing or not doing for ourselves, right? So those gardens need to be tended, and they're just waiting for it. They're calling for it. And you'll notice that your soul is like so ready to explode, right? I know, Renee, when you're not so tired, you get there too. I know you do. Where you really feel like everything just kind of pop out and you can see things more clearly. So, I mean, look how you called Henrietta to you. That was something that your soul did. So, we wait for those things. All right, guys, I love you so much. I am going to sign off on here. I'm going to sign back on Instagram just so I can let my heart explode about the Akashic Records, because I'm really like shaking about it. So don't forget, draw your garden out and just explore it. I am going to do a whole workshop with my friend Elise really soon. I'll keep saying stuff about this stuff, but about finding your spirit animal. That's going to be so much fun. And it helps if you already have your meditation space, like your sacred garden kind of already set up. So, all right. So happy Valentine's Day. Above all, I hope you feel really, really loved. Okay. Love you all. Have a great, great night. Bye.